17, gap year first half.
So there I am, Christmas Eve 2021, like, oh my god, we're gonna have a good one. What I messed up in my head last episode was, I didn't realise it was 2019 that girl messed me around, and it was actually before my birthday. Because I remember I'd already got her a Christmas gift. That's how into her I was. I'd already seen something and gone, I can't let this go, I have to get this now. So I believe it was September. It may have even been August, I can't remember, but all I know is even by Christmas I was still hurt. As I said, it took me half a year to get over her, so we're probably talking, if we're talking August, February time, it was when I finally got over her the following year. But nonetheless, Christmas 2021 was awesome. Had good talks with the family because they weren't worried. They knew that I was giving him my notice, they knew what was coming, and they knew that it was to move to Gloucester. I had reassured everyone that my funds were solid, I did not have to work, it's all good, baby. So happy new year 2022, and I was like, this is going to be such a good year for me. I had already warned Mum that all through January I pretty much just wouldn't exist. Even though the talks were that I would have to do a lot of work on the house to get it on the market, we weren't in too much of a rush because Mum couldn't quit her job till summer, being a teacher, so we had this window of like, we don't need the first bit of the year, but the second, you know, whatever. So January was absolutely magical. A lot of movies, a lot of Xbox, and happy days. I was eating, and I was eating good. After that kind of 5 or 6 months of really being like unwell and really not treating myself right, I was getting the calories in, I was getting good food back in my system, I was like, yes. The house was quite hard to clear on account of all of my stepdad's possessions were still kind of here, there and everywhere. Thanks mate! But my mum is a champion hoarder. I have never met a kleptomaniac like her. There was stuff scribbled away in the back of cupboards from when me and my sister were toddlers, and even before I was even born. Where my sister had gone to uni and then never moved back in, her room still had loads of stuff to sort out in it. I didn't even know where to start, and some days Mum would come home from work and be like, have you actually done anything today? And I'm like, oh my god, you don't even know. A lot of it I didn't know what to do with. There was a lot of Mum's old photos from when she was married to my dad, who's not him by the way, it's my biological dad who actually gave birth. My dad didn't give birth, that'd be really impressive. So even though their marriage didn't work, at least it made me. You're welcome, world. Whenever I get too sad, I just have to remind myself, Timmy, you were the fastest sperm. You go, girl. And I'm like, yeah. Speaking of my dad, we even found some of his stuff as well, and it was like, when will this end? So February, March, it was just insane. Every so often I'd pop and visit my dad. If anyone's confused, they couldn't find a frame that said stepdad, so I have a picture of my stepdad that is no longer with us that says dad. My actual dad is still with us, but not with my mum and not in Gloucester. He stayed where I came from. Does that make sense? Yeah. I feel quite lucky in a way, come from divorced parents quite young. I think they divorced when I was like 4, maybe. Always had an incredible relationship with my mum. I absolutely love my mum. I am unashamedly a mama's boy. Like, I would be nothing without my mum. My dad and I have had patches in our relationship, that's for sure. Like, he is my dad at the end of the day, and I'll always love him. But sometimes, especially when it came to my mental health, I don't feel like he knew particularly how to handle me at points. And it didn't help that he let some bellends into his life. Some of the women that he was with were, oh my god, I just don't even want to get into that, but it did at points put a strain on our relationship as father-son because I just couldn't handle some of them. I will mention, because I haven't mentioned her at all this series yet, and she was wondering, the woman that my dad is with now is incredible because, again, it's a weird one because she's come from an interesting past that's not nice. We've really bonded over kind of like traumas and what people have done to us and who we know that we are, irrelevant of what other people think of us. Anyway, gap year, so we got into like, I don't even know when, Easter. Should we just say Easter? I don't know. But here, look, empty house. Wow, we did it. Congratulations, Tim. It's interesting how they say with certain mental health and certain therapy, they actually recommend cleaning and tidying and sorting and organising. It's good for you. Not 30 years worth of hoarding. I don't even want to get started on the attic. When me and my mate went up there, oh my, just no. No, we're not even doing that. So we're feeling good, we're feeling excited. Estate agent came in, got all the pictures, got all the measurements, the house is officially up on the market. Mentally, I was doing so unbelievably well. Like, yes, of course, there was the nerves of the idea of moving to a new area and starting again. But the fact that I was away from that toxic work environment, the fact that I felt like I was achieving so much more being at home, sorting the house out, the fact financially I was sorted for the year, I was good. Partly because the amount of overtime that I'd done the year before, because nothing was going well, we had to keep coming in early and keep staying in late and keep doing weekends. Jokes on them, they got me into that financial position where I could go, here's my notice, bye! So it's weird, at this time I knew I had borderline personality disorder. I didn't know too much about what it was, but I was reading into it. But I was almost sat there feeling like, it's not even showing up. I'm just buzzing. And then boom, someone wants the house. Yes! However, there was a problem. Oh, I love leaving you guys on a cliffhanger. I'll have to tell you all about that problem in tomorrow's episode. Bye!
Part 18, Gap Year Second Half.
So, as teased in the last episode, someone wanted to buy our house. However, this is where some panic kicked in. We didn't have a house to go to. We were struggling to find houses in Gloucester because with Mum being a teacher we could only really come down at weekends, and some of them would go up at the start of the week and be gone by the midweek, so even though she had requested a viewing, we didn't get one. We had made the trip quite a few times and looked at quite a few houses, and there were some that, as you do when you look at houses, were straight away, no, don't want that one, no, oh, not quite. There were a few that we liked that we missed out on. There was this whole weird situation where one that we liked, we were told that the other people were in better financial position. We were like, we're about to sell a big house and downgrade to a little house, all the money instantly, no mortgage, you know. They realised down the line they had messed up, but by then we had seen the house that I'm in now, and we liked this house, and because we liked it so much, we had stopped on the journey back home all the way back to Buckingham, pulled over for a coffee and said, look, we need to email the guy now and say we want this house, but on the condition it's taken off the market now. There was still a lot of sorting to do because we did a lot of smoke and mirrors to get the viewers in and to get the house viewed and to get it sold. We had so much tucked away in every nook and cranny. The attic was still just, we didn't want to deal with that straight away. Then things got a little bit tougher once again, because through my sister, my mum had got a job share here in Gloucester. I'm then left by myself in Buckingham to finish doing the house. I'm left by myself in Buckingham to get the house finished off, to get everything ready to be moved here into the garage, and I used the kind of the front garden. It was amazing. It was all junk and scrap. It was all, if you want it, it's free, I'm not going to charge for anything, this is all stuff that we can't, we're downgrading, blah blah blah. Even had charity people turn up and take the lot away, and by 2 days later I completely filled up the front garden again. It was hilarious. Obviously found a lot of my stepdad's stuff, and I was sending pictures back and forth to Mum being like, there's some stuff that we are going to keep for his memory, and there's other stuff that we're just like, it's going to have to go, I'm afraid. So there's times, again, this is where the BPD kind of started rising up again, because I felt myself getting so angry, like, you've left me to do this all by myself and I don't know what I'm doing. I couldn't help but be angry towards her, but then feel upset inwards, if that makes sense. I remember sending messages like, do you know what, it's all just going in the bin, I can't be arsed. Was always going nuts on Facebook, going like, who wants this, who wants this, who wants this? Come to the front garden, just take what you want, I don't care, it needs to go. Because the clock was ticking, and Mum had sorted out with a guy that does all the kind of like waste collection, it's because he makes money from it, so he comes and uses his big vans to kind of take all your rubbish away. He'll take it to a sorting area, and then they get all the metal there and all the plastic there and all, you know, blah blah blah. He was not ready for how much we had. Because I'd warned everyone, whatever's left on the front garden on this day is going. This is the date that the scrap collection is booked for. Some of it was junk, but you never know, you know, one man's junk is another man's treasure. So he turned up and was like, I'm going to need my whole fleet of vans. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. But he's like, no, don't be, we're going to make a killing off of this. And I was like, nice one. And it was the weirdest thing to see the house now completely empty. But that's where this really funny overlap happened in terms of the new people wanted to move in on a particular date. We couldn't move into this one until after that. Mum was already here but living with my sister and job sharing with my sister. I remember being like, so Dad, weird question, can I come move in with you for a little bit? I think he was quite happy at the chance of that, because he had moved down to the south coast for a bit when he was with one of the women that was definitely no good for him. But because he was back in Buckingham and our relationship was in a good place, he was proper, he jumped at that. I of course paid him some rent and got some takeaways and did a lot around the house for him and the woman he's with. Absolutely incredible living with my dad, because we just had such a laugh. There's a lot of movies and films that him and his missus hadn't seen, so I ended up showing them some of the weirdest side of all of that. And then it was go time, the day to finally move my stuff over to Gloucester as well. But guess what? That's coming next episode. I'm spinning. Bye!
Part 19, Creating Timmy 2.0.
It was so interesting going from the stress of sorting out the house and 30 years of hoarding and just absolute sleepless nights towards the end, to just living with Dad where it was all super laid back and chill, nothing particularly going on, just each day was just relaxed. Dad worked from home. It was all just nice. It was so good just to unwind and breathe and just finally fully process everything that's gone on and where my life is about to go. After those incredibly magical, relaxing months, it was finally moving day. Packed the bulk of the car the night before and then woke up the next morning and it was time to go for it. I was in such a reflective mood for the journey. I just kind of sat there in the back, just reliving everything almost. Retelling the story to myself of everything that had gone on that led up to this moment. It was awesome just to breathe and be like, we get a chance to start again and to reinvent ourselves. I needed it, my mum needed it, my sister had already done it. Move to a new area and just start again. It was sitting in the back of the car, being in this reflective mood, that I realised something. At some point, Tim and Scars had kind of merged together. The kind of seriousness and the brain of Tim, and the craziness and just absolute animal of Scars. And as much as other people had used the nickname Timmy, I had never used it hugely as a way of describing myself. I went along with it and I was like, yeah, cool. A slight change from my actual name. The character from South Park don't have look like what I used to look like. I realised that's where moving to Gloucester is going to give me the chance to create who I called Timmy 2.0, and Timmy 1.0 never got an official launch. It just kind of started being me, and I started being him, I guess. I'm sat in the car thinking about uni, and I'm thinking about this girl from my first job, and I'm like, I can't keep letting girls do this to me. I was patting myself on the back and saying, well done for still being here. Because one thing I never mentioned is during my worst mental health years, particularly when I was 15, I remember 15 years old being a terrible year for me. I did go through a few years of self-harm. I'd been clean from self-harm for so long, and it was when this girl from my first job messed me around, I did have a slight relapse and fell back into it just for a little while, and I was so ashamed of myself. And that was where golden rule for Timmy 2.0 was forged, was no one's ever going to hurt me or break me to that point again. No more self-harm, no more suicidal thoughts, absolutely no way. It was interesting to be sat in the back of the car kind of creating these rules and regulations for myself and the Timmy 2.0 launch. Things like, no matter how horrible the world is towards me, I will never be horrible back. I will always approach everyone with love and compassion. I was like, yes, of course, Timmy 2.0 is damaged, but not broken beyond repair. It got me so excited to actually get here and start meeting people with like this new version of myself that is so much more evolved and so much better than the previous versions of myself. I've always said to people that I'm not ashamed of my past, to the point I'm glad that certain things have happened that have shaped me into who I am. It's where I feel so different to a lot of people, where because I've gone through such trauma and such sadness and such pain, the last thing I'd ever want to do is bring more into the world. There's all these people that go out of their way to hurt others, that go out of their way to cause upset, that go out of their way to step on people and kick them while they're down. And I'm sat here like, no ifs, no buts, no maybes, that will never, ever be me. And I stick to that to this day. I arrived in Gloucester, very far away from my old life in Buckingham, ready to kick some ass as Timmy 2.0. Next episode I'll tell you all about Timmy 2.0's first few months living in Gloucester. Nice one.
Part 20, Agency Work.
So we have arrived at kind of October 2022. I had made the move to Gloucester, I'd moved into this room, and definitely very mixed emotions. I couldn't help but think about my stepdad a lot and how he would have loved Gloucester and he would have loved the house, except he wouldn't have seen this house because it's a 2-bed house, and if he was still here we would have got a 3-bed house because him and mum didn't sleep in the same room because they blamed each other for snoring, and there's a whole story there. But in so many ways as well, moving away from that house and moving across here helped us get over him, because it was hard to be in that big house knowing that he wasn't there anymore. It was quite thought-provoking moving in because we went through a lot of stuff. There was so much stuff that we just boxed up, and stuff I wasn't sure about. We said we'll send it here anyway and we can go through it together and see what is worth keeping and what's not worth keeping. Picking stuff up that belonged to him and sharing stories about him and stuff like that. Once we'd got that out of the way, I felt peaceful. I think peaceful was the best word. I think my brain was so busy in that last year of my employment, and even through doing the house up, like my brain was going at 100 miles an hour. And now that I was actually here, my brain just settled down and went, at least for the rest of this year, we can just relax and we can just look forward to a new life. I did quite quickly start missing Buckingham, and there's obviously people that I miss every day. But one thing I do not miss in the slightest was that work atmosphere, was a lot of the managers that were just arseholes, the stress, the unnecessary, just like damaging environment. One thing I knew I had to do was obviously make sure my CV was up to date and move anything on any job sites over to this postcode, and I thought I'll start looking, but I wasn't really planning on doing anything until the new year because I didn't need to. I was going to finish off my gap year. A lot of the work was through agencies, which wasn't great because the agency that happened to get hold of me wasn't a local one, they were through DPD. So I worked at a DPD depot on the run up to Christmas because I got approached and I was like, why not? It's a bit of extra money. They said it'll be Christmas and New Year. The managers there very much looked down their nose at anyone that was agency, and if there's something they needed doing, they would usually just push you out of the way to talk to a contract employee. Half the time it was to ask them to ask us to do something, and it's like, why don't you just talk to me? I'm a human being. I'm only agency because all the jobs around here are through agencies. If you knew what I had done in my previous job role, you wouldn't be treating me like this. I had issues with the agency as well because I realised after my third week there that I still hadn't been paid. It was supposed to be weekly pay. There was phone calls and emails and phone calls and emails, and every phone call at least was, yeah, someone will get back to you, yeah, someone will get back to you, yeah, someone will get back to you. No one got back to me. So I was going to this job where I was being made to feel like shit and I was invisible, and then I was at home, I was trying to deal with the fact that I still have not been paid. I can't be bothered anymore. I'm not turning back up until I get paid. So in the new year I didn't go back, and I was still dealing with the agency not paying me. I eventually got through to someone that said, oh, you've got to ring the payroll company, and I'm like, I have to? Is it not your job as an agency to deal with stuff like this? So I got very angry and very shitty fast, and I said I will, but I'm not happy about this one bit. I made sure that I could find everywhere I could review this agency, give them the 1 star and say about all this unnecessary stress they've caused and the fact they still have not paid me, and by this stage it had been nearly 2 months. Finally managed to get through to someone in the payroll company, and it turns out from the agency they'd sent a number through wrong, so the money was bouncing and rejecting. So I finally get paid for that, and as I get paid for that, another job comes up through a different agency for a warehouse. I can't lie, this warehouse was actually really fun, and it's mad to think I was there for half a year. It didn't feel like it at all. Where I didn't speak to many people in this depot, I thought at this warehouse I'll try and make some friends and try and see what activities are going on outside of work. There was a group chat and I kept getting told that I was going to get added to it, and I never was. But this shift was kind of interesting because it was very early in the morning. It was like 6 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon, so it meant we had our afternoon every day. It was very physical, lots of moving boxes and pallets around, unloading trucks, reloading. Oh, it was brilliant. But yeah, once again, that was another bit of agency work that kind of ended in a crappy way. Literally the last 60 seconds of a shift, our phones all went off and we got this text from the agency to say, oh, they've let us know that they don't want you to come back. We were just like, wow, okay then. So we actually stayed behind at the end because the managers sometimes stay for that extra bit to lock up and sort out, and we said, look, this is horrible, this isn't the right way to do this, we should have been given a bit of notice. That kind of downstairs management office was gutted because they really got on with us and we got on with them. It was the heartless ones upstairs that made this decision and decided to leave it last minute and not give us any notice. Naturally, very emotional, very upset, very worried about my future, starting to wonder if I made the right decision coming here. But that was all about to change. But guess what? That's going to be tomorrow's episode.
Part 21, bagging a contract job.
We have arrived at June, July, August 2023. 2 agency jobs had ended quite suddenly. Agency work was starting to do my head in because I wanted somewhere permanent. I had done 7 years at this place in Buckingham. I'm looking for another place to do at least 7 years in. All of a sudden I had a string of interviews and they all felt very similar. There was a 3D printing place, there was a display case making place, that's a lot of aces, display case making place, and there was like a kitchen, worktop and other thing cutting and distributing place. I thought I did quite well in all the interviews. However, unfortunately, the 3D printing place got back to me to say, we've interviewed someone that has a background in 3D printing, so for obvious reasons we're really sorry, but we've chosen them. I totally understood that. I did not hold that against them. That's just luck of the draw. The display case making place was just gone dead quiet on me. That was through an agency, and I kept pestering the agency again and again and again and again. I kept being told, oh, they're not sure, no answer yet, leave it with me, we're not too sure, we'll get back to you. I still haven't heard anything. And obviously in that time I'd gone to this 3rd interview. However, they had also not got back to me on anything. So 3 interviews, 1 no, 2 just pending, and I had a 4th interview, which to be fair sounded the coolest of the lot in working in steel and making big structures. So I went to this interview not too sure, because it very clearly said on my CV that my background is in kind of precision plastic, not big old steel. Absolutely no welding and fabricating experience. And when they said about other interviews, have you got anything pending? And I'm like, yeah, but at this stage it's been quiet for so long, I don't know. What I said very plain and clearly is I'm not looking to mess anyone around. And because I'm not looking to mess anyone around, I don't want anyone to mess me around. I said I'm quite sick of doing agency work and being shown the door. I'm looking for somewhere to stay. And I think they quite liked that. Before I had even got home, I got the phone call to say they want you, and if you can you start Monday? And I was just like, yes! I went through my probation period very easily. It's my grammar school background kicking in again. Like, I am a bit of a smart arse and a bit of a know-it-all. My brain latches onto information and does not let go. So as I was trained to do stuff, I was just picking it all up lightning fast and doing it and learning how to do it better and faster. By the January at the start of that next year, I'd been given the contract. I said recently, in a way, it's good that I came from such a rubbish management, such a horrible toxic work atmosphere, such insanely high stress levels. It makes where I'm working now look brilliant. The management are so understanding. We are spoken to as people, not as numbers. So I've been picking up skills left, right and centre. I had to do a course just to run the machine that I run most of the time. I'd never used an angle grinder before, never used all the mask with the filters and stuff before. Gantry crane training and licence. I was very honest on my form. In order to transition from the agency work to getting a contract, I had to fill out all these forms. And there was one about health issues, and I put my borderline personality disorder on there. In black and white, it is there that I do have this condition. But that's the funny thing, to the right people, the condition's nothing to be concerned about. My brain is wired ever so slightly differently. My emotions are turned up just that little bit more than other people's. But in the grand scheme of everything, I'm just a normal guy. I've ended up chatting to a few guys where I work, because in the actual workshop part, it's all guys. And it's incredible when you start chatting with other guys about mental health and you kind of break down those walls. I've learned to be very honest about my mental health, so I've straight up told everyone what I'm working with. And it's fascinating when people reciprocate and they've got something going on and they've got this and they've got that, and this bit of their life has really knocked them down and made them feel weak and fragile. It's so good to see, because I feel like that was my issue where I came from. All the guys were like big, strong, tough, you gotta be immovable and indestructible. I'm just like, that's not me. Too much damage has gone on up here. As I've said, the experiences, the traumas, the ups and the downs have all shaped me into who I am today. Who I am is someone with an enormous heart. Forever the shoulder to cry on and the ears to listen, the heart that understands. I've almost shifted myself into this ambassador position for men's mental health. I always would rather talk to someone and feel silly about the things that we're talking about involving mental health rather than attend their funeral. So I'm working with a lot of people that know that I'm very broken, very damaged, but ultimately I am Timmy and I am crazy. I like being at work when there's a lot to do, because I can just switch my brain off of life and just focus on what I'm making. And in so many ways I love it. I love just being busy and letting time just tick by and getting to the end of the shift like, oh, I am exhausted. And it's weird in a way, because my Buckingham work environment had all these girls as a distraction and I was chasing. I'm not chasing anyone here. It's all dudes. So it's all good, right? Next few episodes is now the run up to present day. Those who know me know that some stuff has gone down not too long ago that damaged me quite bad, reawakened my depressed side. I'm going to struggle to tell that bit of the story, but it's got to be done to complete this documentary, so bear with me. See you next time, guys. Part 22, Loss. So I wanted to do an episode on loss, because loss is such a big part of life in a way. Unfortunately, in my family, loss is quite a major thing. Never met my dad's dad, he was already gone by the time I was born. My mum's dad died when I was young, now at a stage where my dad's mum and my mum's mum are also gone. But to try and put some kind of timeline together, I'll start from my aunt, because as I said in the episode about where I used to work, my aunt passed away and I was not allowed to attend her funeral. If I did, I'd have got disciplinary action. But that was my dad's sister, which started off a series of events. My gran, who was my dad's mum, got cancer and we lost her. Lost my first dog, which was the start of the breakdown of the biological family of dogs. And then the really hard hitting one was my stepdad. Losing him was unbearable, motor neurons disease and just completely withering away basically. And then we lost the daddy dogs, that was mummy dog and daddy dog gone. And then baby dog had some kind of stroke here. She made it as far as Gloucester. She wouldn't settle properly. And then it was whilst I was working at the warehouse that I was working at. Something happened. She was completely dead behind the eyes. I had to make that choice. She wouldn't even stand up, wouldn't eat, wouldn't drink, wouldn't go toilet. Then my nan had a rapid heart. Didn't go to the doctor straight away. By the time she did, it was too late. She had a stroke while she was in hospital, lost use of the left-hand side of her body, and also lost the will to fight anymore. So at the end, she was drugged up as much as possible to keep her as calm and pain-free as possible, and she passed. So death has followed me around quite a lot. But the reason that I wanted to call this episode Loss, because you can lose people in more ways than just they transition from living to no longer living. On my mental health journey, I have lost friend after friend after friend. As mentioned previously, there was the ones that asked me if I knew how much of a burden I was and decided to cut ties with me. A lot of people didn't even give me the heads up. You almost find out the hard way. Oh, I haven't heard from them in a while when you go to check their profile and you're unfriended. I've had big fallouts with people. I've been made out time and time again to be a bad person, and that one hurts. Because I know I'm such a good person. I have such a big heart. I love talking to people about their problems and doing anything I can to help with their problems. So when I'm made out to be a bad person because I have borderline personality disorder, it triggers something really bad in me. It always sucks when there's people that you were close with and you thought you were going to be close with, and because of mental health, because of maybe minor disagreements, you're no longer in each other's life. It's such a tough one because I truly believe that people that want to be in your life will make as much effort as possible to stay, and every cloud has a silver lining, and every bad thing you experience is actually a blessing in disguise. When a shitty person walks out your life, they leave a gap for a much better person to fill. But yeah, the amount of people that have turned their back on me and walked out is absolutely insane. I thought I was done with it all moving to Gloucester. I thought maybe the end of people turning their back on me, people ganging up on me, people making me out to be the second coming of Hitler. Really thought that was all over. But I need to set something up next episode, and then the episode after that, it happened again. So we shall get there. But in order to set something up, the next episode I want to talk about kind of hobbies and free time. Peace. Part 23, Hobbies and Free Time. Free time and hobbies is an interesting one because I don't do the same stuff I used to do, and in some ways I wish I did. That whole parkour free running thing came to an end, which was kind of devastating. I remember coming back from uni and making a video with Callum. Slowly it kind of all phased out because I had no one to do it with anymore. I still beatbox, much to the annoyance of my family. You'll always hear random things coming out of my room. Things such as... I think one of the important hobbies I picked up was just spending time with my family. The family I've got left. And my Xbox. My Xbox is still the thing that gets so much of my love and attention. But it was interesting kind of re-evaluating since I moved here. I don't really go out and do clubs, and maybe I should. But like I said, it's a weird one because I just like going to work and coming home from work and resting during the week and then recovering at the weekends, because there's so much film and TV that I like and there's so many games I like playing. Because I understand for my mental state and for my mental health it's really good to have distractions and things that bring out the best in me and not just shutting myself in my room all the time. So that is something that I want to work on going forwards, is kind of discovering new passions and new hobbies and new things to do in my free time. But one of the things that I did discover was a mobile game of all things. It had a very online aspect, so there was a lot of people to meet and stuff to do with them. It's a bit of a silly story, but I've actually left 2 social clubs within this game. First one had nothing to do with mental health. It's as simple as we were playing a Jackbox style Quiplash game. If you've ever played Cards Against Humanity, you know how kind of adult content and dirty it gets. I said a few things. It was funny at the time, everyone was having a hilarious evening of games. And then the club leader attacked me the following day for being rude. She actually backtracked to something that happened before that. Those who know me know I can't stand mushrooms, and people started talking about mushrooms, and I was like, putting all these sick things in the chat. I was like, vomiting. And I said, as a very clear joke, because the 2 things do not relate in the slightest, I said, people that actually like mushrooms and are proud to announce that they like mushrooms should have their hard drives checked. Very clearly a joke. So whilst having a go at me over being adult in an adult game, she said it was unacceptable how I was talking about people that like mushrooms. What bothers me and what I find so silly about this whole situation is I knew the original leader because I got the game very early launch. And I'd looked into a load of stuff, so I was actually teaching people new to the game how to play. So I was swept up by the leader, given a co-leader role. I was part of this co-captain bubble. And when the leader decided to leave, my name was thrown into the hat of potential people to become leader. I said no, I didn't want to be leader. I said I just want to chill. And then this girl became leader, and then definitely let it all go completely to her head. So she said I have to change everything about myself, stop being rude and unapproachable in order to stay. And I said I'm just going to go, I can't be bothered. Again, I know I'm a good person, I know I'm not rude. I can't be bothered to keep trying to prove that. So I ended up in the second club, which initially I thought were incredible. Everyone was so different to my first club. Everyone was so chatty and so funny and so silly, and I thought it was all great. And I decided to be very honest about my borderline personality disorder and the fact that I have these episodes and the fact that I've got quite a dark past, and sometimes my dark past catches up with me. And I thought they all understood. Something quite major went down between me and someone in this club, which very much broke me and damaged me and hurt me and all of that. I ended up very depressed. It's another one of these situations where I shouldn't have bothered, but I can pat myself on the back that I was so good and so charming and so nice. But effectively I was getting played the whole time. And that is a story for tomorrow. And it's not going to be a good one, I'm afraid. It put me in a very bad way. So get ready for that.
Part 24, Pain Again.
But yes, the second group felt a lot better, a lot more open, a lot more honest, a lot more understanding. I immediately clicked with the leader, I clicked with a lot of the co-captains. One of the girls in this group started messaging me quite a lot, and I didn't know what to do at first. Because no one ever messages me first, I'm always the one doing all the work. I'm always the one that has to initiate conversation. But there we were, chatting away, getting to know each other more and more. Started off very normal and very safe. Very slow, kind of small talk, all the questions on basic things. Then I heard her voice for the first time and something happened inside me and I was just like, wow. I think because of stuff I'd already posted in the main group chat, she already knew what I looked like, and I finally saw what she looked like. And I cannot lie, my heart skipped a beat. We got onto the stage that we were sending proper essays to each other. In-game quite a lot we were together for doing some of the events you have to do with your club. I'd always pair up with her. I was dealing with a lot of stuff with my life at that time, and it's mad to think that it was kind of her and the conversations with her and the idea of talking to her is what kept me going. This kind of gang, if you want to use the word gang, that I came from, and all my boys, there was some stuff going down back home. There was a lot of bad news making its way to me. I had to make some decisions because of my heart. I have to make sure everyone I love is okay. I was only just getting over losing my nan, and now this is going on. This is why I wanted to talk about what previous girls have done to me and the idea of FPs, because I don't fully even understand my own head and heart. I don't know if I did have a crush on her or whether it was my head and heart were just desperate to have her as an FP. Yes, I found her unbelievably attractive. I found myself giggling like a little schoolgirl at her messages. There were talks about meeting in person way down the line when she was ready, because again, her happiness, health and well-being was so important to me. I didn't want to pressure her into anything. But as stuff was going down in real life, I almost made the decision to stop playing the game. After a few days, I did say to the leader and some of the co-captains, I said, I just need a break, I need to go and sort something out, it's all getting too much. I came back not quite myself, but I kept it well hidden how kind of messed up in the head I was because of some stuff that had gone on. I kept her in the loop the whole time, so she knew what was going on, the leader knew a lot of what was going on. Carried on playing, and literally like 10 days later some stuff was going down again, and I'm like, oh my... I was at a stage I felt like an object. I always just get approached by my friends and stuff when they need me to do something, and I've got to bail them out of these situations. I'm barely treated like a person by a lot of people. I just want to be involved in the happy things as well. I don't just want to have to carry the weight of everyone's problems just because people know that I'm so good at dealing with them. But it's silly to think there were even days at work I was so distracted messaging her back and forth all day. The biggest grin on my face, and people at work knew. But I said to them, I probably won't act on it because of the damage that girls in my past have done to me. I feel like the only way I would ever make moves on a girl is if she makes the moves first, if that makes sense. Like, I'm happy being single because I just can't be arsed with the heartbreak and chaos. It's mad to think again, when she was going through some stuff, it broke my heart. The idea that she's where she is, not having a good time, there's nothing I can do from this far away. What she fed me was life was kicking her, and she felt like it was kicking her while she was down and nothing was going well. Messaging back and forth, and we got to this stage where she turned around and said something like, oh, your messages are going to kill me. She was saying how she's now going to have to stay up till the early hours of the morning replying to everything because we were sending essays to each other at this stage. Because I always made sure to reply to everything that she was putting to me, and then extra, and then anything, you know. So the messages were getting really long. So I turned round and said something like, I'm going to reply in the morning because I'm not going to lie, that kind of stings that you've just told me that me messaging you is causing problems and making you stay up late and you're sleep deprived. You've said before that you need sleep, you need rest, you need to look after yourself, you need to be more selfish and just do what's good for you. So this is where everything gets crazy weird. Even though I promised to reply in the morning, and even though I said it's because of how much I love you and I care about you and I want what's best for you. So I get this voice message of her crying, asking if I've blocked her, and that she's really sorry that she's made me feel like this. And I'm just like, no, it means so much to me. Of course I haven't blocked you. I want you to go and get some extra sleep and not stay up till 3 and 4 in the morning replying to me. I wake up at stupid o'clock in the morning, so I will be up at 6 and I will be replying. You can have a lie-in and reply once you're awake. So I then got a message back off of her basically saying that she just needs some her time, she needs to look after herself and focus on other things, just for a few days. And that's the last thing she ever said to me. I thought to myself at the same time I could do with having a break from the game to finalise just sorting everything out. The fact that things from back in Buckingham kept popping up, people on my Facebook kept popping up, and I'm like, I will deal with all of these problems all in one go, and I am putting it all to bed once and for all and then returning to this game. Because I loved playing this game, and I liked the people that I played the game with. So I tried my best to leave her alone, but knowing how my mental health gets and the idea of feeling so isolated and alone and misunderstood, I sent her just these little daily messages, just so she knew that I was thinking about her. I'm wishing her all the best, and I hope that it can all get sorted out. I was set to take a full week plus off of the game. That was all booked, the leader was happy with it, she understood. But this is where it gets real tough for me. So we had gone from essays back and forward all day to not talking at all for the whole week. She had seen these little supportive messages and said nothing back. I had obviously sent the huge essay back for the stuff that I promised her I would reply to in the morning. I did, I'm a man of my word, I did that. And then I loaded the game up. Told everyone on Discord, surprise, I'm back, here we go, time to have some fun. In the evenings we do these group events, and one of them was on. And I went into the room, and she was sat there. As soon as I said hi, she was just talking about this other guy. I'd said a few things and it all just went completely ignored. And then the other guy shows up and they're just sat there chatting and flirting with each other. I didn't even exist. I wasn't even there. Everything just came crashing down. We normally do a few events back to back, but by the end of the first one, I couldn't cope. I had such emotions in my brain, just rapid firing. If I was to do this in the style of Inside Out and kind of go through each kind of little emotional thought process, it would look something like this. Well, it looks like she lied about G and H, and if she lied about G and H, she probably lied about F, and if she lied about F, then you can almost guarantee that C, D and E were lies, and that makes you wonder whether B was a lie. And if all of that was a lie, then I guess A was a lie too. She's played you, mate. You weren't the only guy she was talking to, and she's chosen this guy over you, because this guy was talking to her all night when you went to bed. You should have stayed up till 4 talking to her. We were so good to her, so good, and that still wasn't good enough. She knew what this girl from my old job did to me, and then went and did a similar thing. You're shit on her shoe, mate. You are worthless to her. You got played, mate. All that time spent thinking about her, and she was your safe space, and she what kept you going. Look at what she's done to you now. She don't give a fuck. And scene. So in a massive borderline personality disorder bit of chaos, I decided that we weren't friends anymore. In simple terms, friends don't treat each other the way that she treated me. Having not said anything all week and then gone and done that right in my face, deliberately ignoring me, deliberately publicly in this room, flirting with this guy, talking with this guy, treating me like I don't even exist after everything I did for her, nah. So I told the leader what I was going to do, and I did. I removed her and everything and thought, I'm not going to get over her unless she's gone out of my life. Don't want to see her face or her name. I took that sadness into work and people picked up on it quite quick. I was very quiet. I had this look on my face that people could tell that I was broken, that something big had happened. I was hurting, I can't lie, and even now, it still hurts. I don't have the feelings for her that I had, but the fact that it went down and the fact that I know that I did, and I know that and no one can tell me I was not good to her. She made her choice, so I had to make mine. So there I was, battered and bruised, kicked to the curb, worthless piece of trash. But luckily I had a weekend coming up that my friends from Buckingham were coming over and we were going to have a great day no matter what. The tough thing was I'd sent them a picture of her and I'd said about how awesome it is talking to her and how much I will try not to talk about her all day, but she's in my mind. And then I had to change that to, guys, we're done. She won't talk to me. So please don't bring her up this weekend. Like, let's have this weekend about us. So all I've got to do is breathe, get to the weekend, and I'll be seeing my friends. And everything will be alright, yeah? No, there's more. And it's coming.
Part 25, Real Ones.
The last episode was tough. That took 22 minutes 46 to film, and I edited it down to what it was. There were parts I got a bit too emotional and teared up, or just kind of gave up what I was saying and had to keep restarting and restarting. Now that that's done, we can do a happy episode again. Just to reset the scene so you know how important this happy weekend was to me. It was planned anyway, but then since planning it, this girl had got my hopes up. We'd really gotten to know each other. We were sending massive essays to each other, loads and loads and loads and loads of voice messages, then just nothing. Completely ignoring me, making me feel super invisible and worthless. So yes, I needed this weekend big time. The people that came for the weekend are my escape room dream team. There's obviously me. There is the absolutely incredible Tony mentioned in the FP episode. There's Josh the gym lad and Gibbo the giant. I love these guys. They have been there for me through thick and thin. So our first escape room that we did quite a while ago now was Blackbeard's Treasure. And then we did this Wallace and Gromit, A Grand Way Out. So they were both in Milton Keynes. Now it was time to beat a Gloucester escape room. We did this incredible Dalek one, and honestly, just wow. It was different. It's definitely different to the other two escape rooms that we've done. It was a little bit less pure, like hard puzzle solving, and more like completing tasks to unlock the next steps and stuff like that. But then we went to Roxy Lanes and we had fun doing arcade and bowling. My mental switch up was quite amazing because I'd initially said to them, don't talk about her please, I just need to have a good day with you guys and forget about her. But quite quickly, as soon as they got here, it was actually Josh that was like, bro, I'm so gutted for you, because we could all see how excited and happy you were. She definitely brought out the best in you. Just can't believe she's done you like that. People in my life know I would have never have done that to her. I think that's why it hurts so much. I had her best interests at heart and I was very protective of her. My boy Josh, he had my back and he's like, don't worry anyway, we're going to look after you today. Wow, did we genuinely have such an incredible day. That's what I wanted to say. If you're friends with someone that has mental health issues, then bear with them and just keep being there for them. They may not say it, not everyone's as open as me. The people who are struggling and feeling alienated and isolated really appreciate the kind of constants, the people they can keep going back to, the anchor beings. If you're someone that does have a bad mental health issue and you rely on your friends a lot, it's hard to say, but try not to do it too much. I tried to put as much out of the way as I can and say, while I'm with my friends, we're going to go have a fun time. I'm not going to just get everything off my chest and weigh them down with it all. People like Tony says, no, please do. Tony and Katie are both amazing people that will always say, keep coming back to me and tell me everything and get it off your chest. It's so good to talk. But it's weird that not all friends want to talk. Some work better as a distraction and they'll just say, let's go do something dumb. Take your mind off it. What's on at the cinema? Let's go do this. I use the word love a lot, but I do love my friends. Like these people that have stuck with me through my worst years. Anyone that's seen me have a really bad episode and chosen to still be associated with me is just an incredible human being. As I said in the last episode, I've lost a lot. So many people decide I'm too much to handle and I'm not worth putting up with all my bad days. A lot of people use my bad days as an excuse to say, you're an arsehole, I'm not going to be your friend anymore, I can't stand you. But what an amazing weekend, and I think the best thing is, when this documentary comes to an end, I am going back to Buckingham to see some of these people again. Second and third, I've got some good stuff planned with these amazing people once again. I think I'll be seeing Reese as well. Me and Reese stick together, mental health sufferers together forever. I'm proud of Reese for what he's gone through and he's still here. So it's very much like a roller coaster, because I had the big dip of what went down between me and this girl. I had the huge rise of an amazing day with amazing people, actually feeling valid and actually worth something after being made to feel so invisible and worthless. And then as the day came to an end, something interesting happened, which carried on into the next day as well. I'll tell you about it next episode. I'll make sure I set it up fully and explain it, because wow. Anyone that's stuck with this documentary this far, you're incredible, thank you. I've never told my story before, and I decided it was time to be honest and open up about the low bits and how low I got. But yes, not that many more episodes to go, and then I don't know what I'm doing once this documentary's done. It's kind of taken over my life for a month and a half, but we shall see.
Part 26, Exiled.
just got to make sure I set the scene properly for this one. In the social club Discord that links to the game that I played, we had different chats for different things. Team up requests, trades, introductions, upcoming content, even pets. And if you couldn't quite work out where what you wanted to post was supposed to be posted, there was a general chat for just generally chatting. People were posting like entire songs and playlists and entire sections of like episodes or movies. Home renovators were posting their home renovations. Holiday goers were showing everyone what they were doing and where they were on holiday. So I had told everyone how excited I was that my friends were finally coming. Because since I'd moved here, they'd never been able to get over. I'd always gone back now and then, but they had never come this way. Quite a few people, including the leader herself, had said that they're glad that I was finally going to have a good day after what I'd gone through with kind of the bad news back to back to back to back to back leading up to this. I said I would try and get some pictures and videos. They said, yeah, cool, nice, great, do that. So I didn't post the videos last episode from Roxy Lanes when I said about Roxy Lanes, the arcade, because knowing what you now know about how the chat works and how the people work, what actually happened is not what you would have expected to happen. So let me just stop and show you the clips that I sent. And whilst I'm now editing this, I'm going to show you the duration of those videos. An extra detail just to add in before I say this next bit. There were no place names, there were no names, there was almost no talking, correct? At a particular point during the day when everything settled down just that little bit, I posted those videos to a few people, including the Discord chat for the club that I was in. By the end of the day, my friends were still here. They were just doing kind of toilet, water top up, having a little look at the house before they made the journey back. Get a notification on my phone, it's a Discord message. It was the leader of the club basically said that it's not okay what I posted. Bearing in mind what we said earlier about the kind of things that are posted in the chat and the people and all of this. And I can't lie, I ended up in an agitated state. I was like, 2 days ago you wanted to see these pictures and videos, but now that stuff's gone down between me and your friend, the fact I had a day that I actually felt valid and loved and wanted, how dare I? To me, this was obvious. This was the most obvious case of you would rather take her side. It's easier for you to ignore how cruel and heartless she was to me. Treated me in a way that I would not have treated her, and let's just make me out to be a bad guy. At that stage, I was like, wow. One of the things she told me is it should have gone in this other chat. That chat did not exist at the time. And whilst other people are posting longer videos than that, and more sensitive information than that, you've taken her side. Because you're the captain and she's a co-captain, of course you're going to gang up on me. Turn all the other co-captains against me. Because I had my heart broken. Because I was so good to someone that decided I wasn't worth shit to them. The fact that it was whilst my friends were still here, it was almost too perfect timing as I opened the door to let them into my house. I'm sat there thinking, you can't let me have one day. You know that I've been feeling so rubbish leading up to this because of what she's done to me. On top of the bad news that I was given, on top of the other stuff going down. Like I said, kick me while I'm down, stick the knife in, still not satisfied, turn the knife, and I fought back. I'm sat there thinking, screw your ego, screw the fact that you're this leader of a club on an online game. You're not exactly a world leader. Let's talk person to person here. I'm a victim. I had such a bad time. I finally get a good day. I wanted to share it with some other people, and you come at me on the same day. All of a sudden I turned around and went, I've got an idea here. When you're dealing with someone of grammar school intelligence, play your cards wisely. I basically turned around and said, take this to the co-captains. If you want me to leave, I will leave. Because I knew I'd done nothing wrong. I knew I was loyal to the club. I always made sure to get the points I needed to get each week. The deep dives into sharing extra information and tips and tricks and videos and hidden things within the game. I knew if she was going to come back with asking me to leave, I knew that just confirmed that the co-captain chat was talking absolute shit about me. So guess what happened? What I've done was apparently not okay. posting that video that contained no names and no sensitive information, that was shorter than stuff that other people post, and then standing my ground saying, no, I think what I've posted is okay and it should be allowed to stay, considering several people said they can't wait to see the pictures and videos. So in the end, I was just like, fine, do you know what? Fine. But it was at that moment I suddenly reevaluated and went, what am I doing? Like, maybe I should just ditch this game, ditch everyone, and focus on what's more important. That's exactly what I did. I changed my character's name and completely changed his look, completely cleared my friends list and just said, done with this, or cannot be bothered anymore. And that was a key step for me, because I then realised it's time to focus on myself and my friends. But actually, yeah, more myself. I realised at that moment the reason that I get so triggered by people telling me I'm a bad person is because I dedicate my life to other people. I'm always doing stuff for other people. I'm always the shoulder to cry on. I'm always the ears to listen. I'm always the heart that understands. For years my role's just been always being there for other people and neglecting myself in a way. That's where this weird decision came from, to now focus on myself, to kind of reevaluate everything. And part of that was making this documentary. To finally tell my story and finally put everything behind me. To finally feel heard and understood, even if only by a handful of people. Where life has punched me and kicked me and beaten me within an inch of my life over and over and over and over and over and over again. Where I keep bumping into people that are adamant that I'm a bad person, when I'm the one that ends up in these situations where I get hurt because of how much I love others and how much I do for others and get nothing in return. I always feel like I serve my purpose, I make them feel better, and then they just leave. But yes, in this final week of the documentary, in this final set of episodes, I'm going to be kind of reviewing moments of my life and kind of what I've learned on the journey, as well as where I now want to go moving forwards. And I can't wait to share that with you guys. Peace.
Part 27, Karma.
We got up to me being asked to leave the social club because I got hurt. Everyone decided they liked her and they didn't like me. My awesome friends came to bail me out of a dark place, and apparently it was not okay that I posted 30 seconds of video that contained no sensitive information whatsoever. Then there's this whole issue with the other leader still not letting me back in, still not fully understanding why I left when she couldn't take a joke. She couldn't handle the adult content on an adult style game with adult style answers. After arriving at the decision that I'm done with the game, I'm just going to uninstall, I was still in touch with a lot of people. So I started doing the messages just to say I think this is goodbye. I'm not going to go and try and now find a third social club. They've all turned against me. Because of that sequence of events, bad news here, stuff going down there, Nan dying there, more bad news there, this girl hurting me here, and then the absolute nonsense involving being accused of posting stuff too personal even though there was not an ounce of personal information in there, referring to it as spamming, where I think we worked out it was 38 seconds or something of content. So of course it felt like I was being absolutely attacked from all angles. But that's where karma popped up, and man do I love when karma pops up. To where you've got two social clubs of almost 50 people, add that together, take off the ones that actually like me. You've got at least 70-75 people playing this game that don't like me, based on a load of rubbish, proud of themselves for pushing me away, kicking me whilst I'm down, ready to carry on playing now that they've got rid of me. Karma, you beautiful baby. There was effectively two versions of the game, the kind of like Asian version and then like the rest of the world, kind of Europe, America, blah 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 blah. The non-Asian server, big announcement everyone, is shutting down. When I found out, I could not help but send that to some people and be like, this is too funny. As I mentioned before, I had early access of that game. I played it since the very start, technically the pre-start of the game. And they had decided they're just going to do the last month and a bit without me, and I just found that hilarious. Was that worth it? Was that worth all of that drama, all that chaos? It's all coming to an end. Anyone that spent money, no refunds? That's one of those moments where I'm like, yes, I get to have the last laugh. It's interesting because the amount of times people like to say everything happens for a reason, every cloud has a silver lining and all of that. There's me and my friends having the last laugh saying I obviously wasn't meant to maintain a friendship with any of these people. Well, there still is a few, like I said, there's a few people that were on my side. There's a couple of like sitting on the fence people, there's a couple that knew that I was just a class clown, a bit of an idiot, but ultimately not a malicious bone in my body, I'm harmless, I'm just a goofball basically. It's one of the few times in my life that I have felt karma's presence and kind of cheered up quite rapidly over something that I was initially devastated over. Because I truly believe bad things should happen to bad people. People who hurt others intentionally at some point should always feel the pain of their victims. I come from a background where yes, people got hurt way back in the day when I was doing gang stuff that I shouldn't have been doing, and I've dedicated the rest of my life to turning that around, to make sure no one gets hurt because of me ever again. And yet I have to share the planet with people that intentionally hurt other people, that go out of their way to hurt people, that try to hurt other people. And yet I feel bad if someone does get slightly affected by my mental health when it's bad, and that'll eat away at me for days. But there is never ever ever any evil intent with me. But yes, luckily I was given the opportunity to move forward from this quite fast, have my little laugh that they don't have their game anymore. As previously stated, I will always pat myself on the back that I get thrown into these situations a lot, but don't retaliate. I will always be a pure soul, I will always have a kind heart. Yes, it sucks that I get hurt a lot, but I can stay proud that I'm always the one hurting and never the one doing the hurting. I appreciate karma when she strikes, but for obvious reasons, a bridge once burnt, I don't bother to rebuild. You turn your back on me and you keep walking forever. Because I wouldn't do it to you. I don't turn my back on the people I love and the people I care about. I hold my head high, that even while I'm battling all these demons and carrying the weight of my past, I'm a loyal friend till the end. I always try and spread love and hope and peace. But I'll see you in the next one, guys.
Part 28, How Far I've Come.
So just how far have I come? Because I started this documentary during my GCSEs and we finished it like literally a couple of weeks ago. How much have I changed on the way? This is where I've gone really self-reflective and looked at how I've acted in certain situations and how I've responded to certain negativities, and I can hold my hand up at times and say I haven't dealt with things in the right way. Older me used to get very confrontational. A good example of this is those girls at uni. I ended up messaging them saying kind of what I thought of their behaviour. I called them out on the stuff they did, and it turns out girls really do not like being called out on stuff they've done. A lot of these exes and the friends they had, ones that did end in arguments, they were some really good arguments. I think it's because before I fully understood my own brain, I used to get very agitated by almost anything. Guess I was after more fairy tale love, like I just wanted to find a connection with someone that I just settle with, we just agree on everything, no arguments, no disagreements. But in simple terms, that just doesn't happen. Who I am now isn't as agitated by all the little things. The main one that I have spoken about is being ignored. There's something about being left on red that just sends me all the way back up to just furious. That's a very quick journey because it starts with sadness, but I don't get sad for long anymore. So I start with something, I'll get sad, and then very quickly, almost like a fight or flight response, I will counter my own sadness by turning it into anger. Definitely, again, not as much as I used to. I remember how angry I was as a teenager. Even in my early 20s, I was just so short-fused. So I have a longer fuse now. I have like meditation tactics. I have the ability to be exposed to stuff that used to piss me off that doesn't piss me off anymore. Other than the idea of, mind games and ignoring. I hate that whole kind of street of intentionally messing with someone else's head, having them question their thoughts. That's something that still gets under my skin. Where I said I never did cigarettes, alcohol, drugs, I used to rely a lot on energy drinks. It's something as the years gone on I kind of realised I definitely shouldn't be doing to the extent that I was. Luckily I have had no incidences, but I've heard of some cases of people that have kind of had way too much energy drink, kind of the taurine and the caffeine that's in them and what it can do to you. I pretty much had 2 a day minimum without fail on like a weekday. And on the weekend you're talking 6, 7. My issue is now is I still love Mango Loco. I think there's a slight psychological factor to it. I never heard of it until me and Tony were in Milton Keynes. The can caught my eye and I was like, I've never had, what's this? And I tried it and I just loved it. I think one of the most obvious ways that I have grown as a person is the sharing side. I bottled everything up GCSEs. I kind of felt something was wrong, but I kept it to myself. I was just very quiet, and every time anyone says, "You alright?" it's easiest just to go, Or you always just lie that you're tired. Like, yeah, just tired. It's like, I'm not tired, I'm miserable, I'm depressed. Something is eating away at my own brain. My heart is heavy. I've learnt now not to be ashamed and not to hide anything away. I tell Tony everything, I tell Katie everything, anyone that's an FP. It's something that came up in conversation recently about my boys. We've bled together, we've fought together, we've done the dumbest things together. Half of us should have definitely done prison time. And I turned around to them and said, do you guys think you're all okay? Like, it's honestly worth it just getting checked out and being honest about how you're feeling and what's going on in your brain. I will never judge anyone for information that they share with me. That's another change I've gone through, is I used to be a bit of a gossip and I loved the drama, I loved all the scoops. I've become very much a secret keeper for a lot of people. So anything that is told to me in confidentiality stays in confidentiality. Even in this series, it's a tell-all series, there's obviously stuff that I have redacted, there's names that I haven't used, there's bits of information I've left out. Even these last few episodes I've been talking about this girl that really hurt me and all of this. There's stuff that she has said to me that I will not be passing on to you guys, because I don't break people's trust. People can do what they want to me. I can guarantee that that co-captain's chat has absolutely dragged my name through the mud with almost none of it being true. But on top of that, there is going to be stuff that I shared with her in confidentiality that I can't imagine is confidential anymore. But that's not me, that's not what I'm about. I don't want anyone that watches my series to try and hunt these people down and give them any grief for what they've done to me. That's not what this is about. I think part of doing this series is a way of just like flushing it all out and then saying, done, draw the line, move on, never go back. I think it's so important for every single person to realise that their past doesn't define their future at all. It's not about what life throws at you, it's how you deal with it that defines you as a person. I feel like I've been tested more than most people, and that's why I'm quite heavily atheist. I believe it's down to luck of the draw. I don't believe some big being out there has actually specifically targeted me and given me so much to deal with, because that's messed up. I just believe I got unlucky with some stuff in my childhood which did some damage into my teen years, that's where this all kind of escalated properly. I used to hold grudges and I used to hate people and pray for their downfall. Whereas now I just very simply hold my head high and just walk. Friendships should always be 50-50, and if I'm giving 50, I definitely used to overextend myself where friendships should be 50-50. Like, I used to go up to like 80, I'd be desperate to cling on to people and I would do so much for them. Whereas now I'm better at hanging back slightly, 50, sometimes I might push it to 55. But that's where I get wound up, because I'm doing as much as I can without going stupid. Like, you need to meet me halfway, or we need to re-establish terms. I've got a good circle of people that don't make me question anything, that don't make me fight for attention, that don't have me second guessing, throw my head into this mad tangle of panic and worry and analysing things too much. I think there's a quote that says something like, you don't realise how strong you are until being strong is the only choice. And that's how I feel a lot of the time. I've had no choice but to kind of really put on a brave face and go out into the world, both before I knew I had borderline personality disorder and even recently with BPD like playing up a lot. Having mental health does not make you any less of a person, makes you no less valuable. If anything, it makes you an absolute badass, because having to go out every day, face your demons, face the world, when you're dying inside, having to deal with people telling you that you're a bad person or making you feel worthless, that makes you brilliant. I will probably continue to make the mistake of letting the wrong people into my life, but the simple fact is, it wouldn't be fair, because of these girls that have hurt me in the past, to shut my doors completely and not let the next girl in, because for all I know, the next girl I meet is the one. Imagine shutting all the doors in her face because of what other girls have done to me. You don't know if you don't try. So I have to go through these cycles, almost oversharing and over-explaining and really getting to know, getting attached. And then most of the time it's a case of getting played, getting lied to. They wake up one morning and decide you don't mean shit to them. It turns out they were only ever using you. But again, I will never pass that pain on. I will always break the chain. Just because I have been hurt a lot, I will never hurt anyone else. I would never do something stupid to girl F or G or H just because girl A, B, C, D and E have all done that to me. I look at myself in the mirror and say I could do better and I could be better. So I will do better and I will be better. And it really is as simple as that. Each day we get is a blessing. We never know when our last day is going to be. So it's important to enjoy life, spread love, spread hope, spread happiness. It's also very important to end the video here.
Part 29, The Future.
Here we go. Looking to the future, where do I want to be compared to where I am now? That is the question. At this stage, I live with my mum, and as terrible as it is to admit, I'm 30 and I still don't drive. One of those weird fears that just kind of, every time I've tried, it's just not gone well. Can't even do theory without kind of getting the nerves and just feeling like, knowing how accident prone I am going to have an accident, 100%. My borderline personality disorder is not as bad as it used to be at all. I'd love to not get triggered by anything, but I feel like, as mentioned in the last episode, there are a few things that are still going to trigger me. I will of course continue to be an ambassador for mental health. I love talking to other people about it. I love swapping stories and using anything I've learned to help someone else. We should all strive to become the adults that we wish we had when we were a struggling child. So I am always there for the people that are there for me. I aim to continue working hard at my job. Now that I'm working under good management and I can see kind of what a high functioning workplace should be looking like, then I can eventually get my own place. Maybe learn how to drive and get a car, I don't know. I'd obviously love to meet my woman, wherever she is. There's someone out there for everyone, supposedly. Just gotta keep filtering through the shit ones. I'd love to meet a woman that understands me, that doesn't judge me by my bad days, that doesn't do anything that all these women in my past have done to me. Just a very chill, supportive relationship where we've got each other's backs. I will continue gaming. Nothing is going to take my gaming away from me. That is my safe space. Thinking about the fact they always say healthy mind, healthy body, I do want to get back into the better shape that I was in when I was a free runner. It's been a good start having an active job, but I still eat horrendously. Still get a lot of takeaways. I'd love to get my old body back, whilst also looking after my brain, and just keep striving to be the best possible version of myself. Some people might find it crazy that I'm admitting this, but I don't think I want to be a dad. I don't really aim to ever have my own kids. My nieces are enough of a handful. Potentially it's a psychological thing because I've gone so long without a woman, like I just don't even know, like, to have kids I'd need a woman. It would need to be a woman I trust, because women, all they ever seem to do is abuse my trust. I feel like it adds a whole extra layer of complication when kids get involved if there is an argument and a breakup and just mind games. I've seen so many cases where divorce leads to mind games and using the kids as weapons, and just, nah, I just don't want any of that. I said ages ago about kind of passions and hobbies. I aim to carry on discovering what I may or may not be into. Potentially, yeah, cooking and being in the kitchen more is something that I believe might be good for me. No matter how many times my sister recommends gardening, I will not be gardening. Having quite bad allergies, even just freshly cut grass, any pollen, most flowers, it's just like, no, I stay away from stuff like that if I can. A few times now I've started writing a book. And what really upset me is my old laptop just completely went bang. I had a basic template of the story, I had kind of chapter ideas, and then I had the actual writing. I had something crazy like 7,000, 8,000 words. But I quite like the pirate era. And other than Pirates of the Caribbean, Treasure Island, Treasure Planet, Peter Pan, not too much pirate fiction out there. I think this stems from being in love with Sea of Thieves until the past year, where the devs have just destroyed the game. It's all about PvP now. Skull and Bones came out, it tried, but it's just not the same. Assassin's Creed Black Flag was pretty cool, not as cool as Ezio Auditore da Firenze. Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood and Revelations. I had this idea of like a pirate, like a ragtag crew that didn't really like the word pirates, but they were kind of like thrown together on this ship and they're learning to survive. So maybe one day I will actually sit down, write the whole lot and try and get it published. I don't know. Basically going forward, because I have two amazing nieces, I want to make sure that they only ever see the good side of me. I don't want to have any kind of negative influence on their upbringing. So I'm going to look after myself, look after other people, put my past behind me. So we shall see how it goes. And we shall also see how this documentary ends. It's getting very exciting now.
Part 30. What does it all mean?
So what does it all mean? It means I have a personality disorder. Doesn't mean you need to tread on eggshells around me. Just means my brain's wired that little bit different. Quite a lot of the time I don't feel any different. Really appreciate all the times I'm not treated different. Just means certain bits of information get processed a little bit differently inside my head than how it gets processed in the normal person's head. And hopefully I've laid this series out in a way that demonstrates the kind of elements of my life that I believe have made it worse, whilst also including the bits that have made it better. The reason I started at GCSEs with the misdiagnosis and stuff is because I wonder what would have happened if I'd caught it earlier. If I've supposedly had this all along, how come it only really showed up towards the end of my time at my first job, when this girl well and truly messed me around? Slight issue is the fact that it is deemed non-curable, but having done a lot of stuff myself, I do believe that borderline personality disorder is very manageable, especially when you've got good people in your life. Even though by having good people in your life, it does make the bad ones look really bad. I've got people in my life that have set the bar so high. I'm not at all saying you've got to jump through hoops and cure cancer to be my friend. You've got to be a superhuman to stay in my life. I've said it at points during this, I just want to feel involved, I just want to feel wanted, I just want to feel like a person, not an object. I'm glad that I went to uni because there was a huge worry that I wasn't going to go. To be fair, uni made me come right out of my shell. In school I was very, very, very quiet. I mean, I was an absolute lunatic with my friends at break times, but in the classroom, very quiet. First job was a time in my life where I felt the most valuable, because understandably by the end of uni I didn't feel valuable. Contributing to society, doing the shift work, making a product, it felt good. Unfortunately, the kind of final third of my job, definitely didn't like it anywhere near as much as when I first started. Lost a lot of people along the way, both in terms of death and in terms of turning their back and walking away. People come, people go, that's just part of life. I do believe with people like my stepdad, he would always want me to be the best version of myself possible. He did try hard to kind of try and understand what was going on in my head. Even though he's gone, I know he would have wanted me to push and push and push. So that's what I do. I truly believe that moving away from Buckingham and moving to Gloucester was huge. It was an incredible decision and it has helped a lot. It's hard to put stuff behind you while you're still living in it, and to move away and just be like, nothing matters anymore, start again. I'm not on any medication for this, I don't want to be, and I don't feel like I need to be. And on top of not having any medication, I'm not reliant on energy drinks anymore. They tend to be limited to weekends. I just enjoy them now and then. I remain single, but honestly I'm alright with that. I would rather be single than settle for less. But it means I'm in a state now where I think I'm looking to create Timmy 3.0. Using the state I got into in this recent batch of events with Nan dying, with this girl kind of getting my hopes up, suddenly I don't exist to her in the slightest. The leader turning her back on me, completely changing her view of me like almost overnight, finding any reason to have a go at me and dismiss me. But again, I'm so thankful and grateful and just feel so lucky to have the friends that I've got, to have people in my life that will catch me when other people knock me down. It's mad that we live in this world where people seem to want to knock other people down. I swear I've got no interest in that whatsoever. But it's about the journey, not the destination. So I will work towards Timmy 3.0 and I will probably do a follow-up video around Christmas to let you know kind of where I'm at with that. Of course you might be sat there wondering this isn't quite the end. Oh no, Halloween 31st, I've got one more little bit of the puzzle to put together, one more little thing to tell you guys. So if you've made it this far through my documentary, thank you. Honestly, thank you so much for watching and for bearing with me during the bad bits. Hope the good bits have cheered you up as much as they've cheered me up. I hope you don't think I'm too much of a mess. I don't think I'm that much of a mess, but I don't view myself as broken, especially not broken beyond repair. If anything, I view myself as damaged goods, still functioning, still here, still loving. I am a hugger, so if anyone wants to give me a hug, just do it, please. Just throw yourself at me and I'll try my best to catch you. Be nice to each other. You never know what someone's going through. Any questions, throw them at me, and I will see you in the next one.
Part 31, Halloween Special.
So here we are, at the end. And with it being Halloween, it's a perfect time to say, don't be scared. Do not be afraid to get yourself looked at if you think something is psychologically wrong with you. It could be incredible what is found. I always say my diagnosis wasn't a bad thing. It helped me to understand why I am the way that I am. We live in a world where men are expected to be so strong and tough, and actually men are going through hell all the time. There is absolutely no shame in having a diagnosis and then being able to say, yes, there is something wrong with me, and now that I know what it is, I'm going to work on it. Don't be afraid to look at your own friends and work out which ones may or may not be good for opening up to. Took that step back and went, actually certain ones aren't very good for the mental health talks, but find the ones that are. And if you are that kind of friend that's good at mental health talks, reach out to people that you believe might be going through something, because you just never know. As I said with me and Tony, she thought I just simply wasn't saying anything. So there was this weird emotional moment where I found out, got my diagnosis, went to tell her, and she already had figured it out. Definitely within your family, talk to people within your family. Don't let anyone else define your happiness and define who you are. Be you and be proud. Even with things like addictions. It's amazing how with the right mindset you can put stuff like that behind you. I have a good record with my friends, how many of them I've got clean. Eating disorders that I've managed to undo. Suicides I've prevented. But don't forget, depending on who you ask, I'm a terrible human being. Isn't it weird how I am just Marmite Man? You either absolutely love me or you hate me, and if you hate me, it's based on lies. I've given no reason for people to hate me. I dedicate my life to other people and to helping others and to trying to make the world a better place. I think the only people that hate me are the ones that I've called out on behaviour, or people that believe the rumours and the lies that are spread about me. But back to the topic of not being afraid. It's definitely worth it to unlock the better version of yourself and to live a better life. I guarantee there's people out there that think there might be something wrong with them, but they're not going to take that step. Honestly, that step is amazing. Quite often you do have to go through blood, sweat and tears. Taking that first step unlocks harder steps, but at least you've taken that first step. As I said, my approach was to be super open and honest. Told my counsellor everything and requested not to put me on any form of drugs to combat symptoms. I want to fight the root. I want to dive in and then use whatever I've learned to help other people. I wish the world would talk more. That's the main thing that no one should ever be too afraid or ashamed to do, is just talk and communicate. So many problems that exist today would just be solved so quickly if people just talk. Don't be afraid to take whatever steps need to be taken for a better life for you, because every single person deserves to be here, deserves to feel loved, deserves to feel special, deserves to feel wanted. And that's why at the same time it's a case of don't be afraid to sever ties with people that are making you feel rubbish. I like having quite a small inner circle, a circle that I can really trust, and if you're not within that circle, tough. You don't get the VIP treatment. I used to be too much of a people pleaser and try and please everyone and try and get the biggest circle I could. It's just not worth it. I don't want people in my life that are judgy, egocentric, do heartless things, that use people as stepping stones, that hurt people just because they've been hurt. It's incredible how much of a war you can have going on in your own head. Please just be there for people that look like they're going through something. Try and get them talking, and if you're going through something, talk. When it comes to any form of mental health issues, any struggles with life, it's important to take action and don't be afraid. And that's it. That is 31 out of 31. That is my borderline personality disorder journey. That was not easy, but I did it. I don't wallow in self-pity, questioning why me. I look up at the sky and say, go on, try me. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, thanks for understanding. I hope it's been educational and interesting. I know it got emotional at times, but we did it. Nice one.